Supreme Chancellor Obi-Wan Kenobi by Stone Freak. Chapter 13. An Assassination Attempt. Sheev Palpatine allows the rage to flood through his body and spark in the Force. Here on Naboo, there's no risk some blasted Jedi will feel it and come investigate. Not that they haven't been blinded even on Coruscant near their own blasted temple, but better safe than sorry. The Sith haven't endured for generations due to being sloppy and careless. He's better than that. Smarter than that. He's more competent a politician, better a negotiator, and smarter a manipulator than any other could ever hope to be. How dare Senator Mandai interrupt his plans? While she certainly can't have known anything about them, it's still exactly what she's doing. And to dare call him incompetent, turn the majority of the Senate against him, ensure that blasted scum-sucking always in the way of an absolute horror of a Jedi Obi-Wan Kenobi elected in his stead. Palpatine would rip her head clean off her shoulders if it wasn't for the fact that her murder would most likely make all eyes turn on him with scrutiny. He cannot touch Senator Mandai. Not that it would be useful for anything beyond revenge. Anyway, she's only one among 135. Kill her, and there are 134, and probably more, willing to take her place. She was smart there, bringing it up as a group, a movement, not as an individual senator. By making herself the face and head of a group, one that will likely grow in numbers, she gives herself more power, more sway, at the same time as she creates herself a shield. He grinds his teeth together, ousted from his seat as Chancellor. Humiliating. He has tried to legislate to make it nearly impossible. Unfortunately, the vote of no confidence is part of the very foundation of the Republic, and as such there was no way for him to just remove it. Not yet. He had most senators either convinced he was the only thing standing between the Republic and utter desolation, or made them believe he was malleable to their interests. He thought he'd achieved the perfect blend. Unfortunately, it seems that was not the case. Handu has always been a pain to deal with, staunchly anti-war. The whole planet has disapproved of him since the creation of the GAR. It has been annoying, but ultimately unavoidable. Besides, Handu has limited sway in the Senate. They had limited sway in the Senate. Clearly, Mandai is far more skilled than her predecessor. That a predator species of the Nangi's level would be such staunch pacifists is laughable. Like some snake species on Naboo, they can easily crush their prey by wrapping their long body around them and squeezing. Of course, Nangi, considering their size and relative strength, could possibly even crush a great dragon. Very much unlike Naboo snakes. Mandai is untouchable. Even if he'd known what she would do, he couldn't have swayed her. Nangi are one of the highly infuriating races, completely immune to Force suggestions. Honestly, Palpatine wants to blow the entire planet up in retaliation. But no, Mandai and Handu are forgettable. He needs to focus on the real threat. Obi-Wan Kenobi. His mere name sets Palpatine's teeth on edge. Ludicrously stable in the light and somehow manages to inspire loyalty despite his extensive list of flaws. Palpatine has spent years molding Skywalker and still the boy is loyal to his former master. He will fall. Palpatine will make sure of it, but as long as Kenobi is alive and around, he'll be an obstacle simply by existing. Die! He must die! Palpatine would most of all like to strangle him until his lips turn blue and his eyes pop out of their sockets. Wants to watch the man's life slowly fade from his eyes. A quick death is too good for such ridiculous rot. Palpatine would love to be the one to kill Kenobi to give in to the rage and end his life. However, if he wants to reclaim his throne, he'll need to be subtle and hire someone. Obi-Wan Kenobi is far from pleased. Several senatorial aides and senators and even his own men have said it's important he bring guards with him wherever he goes. Apparently, since he's the Supreme Chancellor, he simply must have guards. He may be the Supreme Chancellor, but he is also a Griffin Jedi Master! He knows how to protect himself! He's survived in catastrophic zones when he was 13 years old! Sure, he was mostly there by accident, but he sure had to survive them once he was there! If he didn't need a protective guard then, he certainly doesn't now! Then again, that does depend on if you count his master as a protective guard or not, because he always were with Qui-Gon when something went awry and missions that should have been calm and fun blew up in their faces! Sometimes literally. Regardless, he can very well take care of himself! But no, Cody had insisted, which frankly, all things considered, was a bit of a relief. If he has to have someone following him around, then he wants it to be men he trusts with his bag already. Chancellor Kenobi, it's a pleasure to finally meet you. Senator Mandai coils her lower body several times to be closer to Obi-Wan's own eye level. Her face isn't capable of smiling, but if it was, such an expression would only showcase her many, many sharp fangs. Really, it's such a good thing that Nangi are pacifists, unless actively forced into battle, willing to defend themselves and others, but unwilling to strike the first blow or seek out battle. Likewise, Senator Mandai. Obi-Wan doesn't smile either. The Nangi consider it rude, and he is ever a trained diplomat. I must say I was surprised by your rather impassioned speech to the Senate. The Nangi have long memories, Chancellor. We remember the help you and Master Jin, may his essence ever spread across the universe, gave us some 20 years ago. Her large clawed hand makes a sweeping motion over and across her face as she mentions Qui-Gon, a Nangi's way of expressing grief and respect. I see. There will always be an ache in his chest when memories of his master surfaces. The mission to Hondu had been challenging, but rewarding. He hadn't expected something like this to come from it, however. Of course, we've also seen all your efforts during the war. She straightens slightly, temporarily towering over Obi-Wan, before she relaxes again. You will work toward ending this war. We of the Nangi have no powers with the Force, but the legislation enacted under Palpatine has worried us. You'd do well to look it over. She refused to say more, stating her wish to have him look it over with unclouded eyes. Perhaps the Nangi see things that aren't there. Well then, Senator, I believe it's time for me to make my departure. Obi-Wan bows and receives a bow in return. He doesn't get far before more senators try to swarm him. Their distance had clearly only been out of respect for Senator Mandai, that or fear. She is a rather awe-inspiring presence. It's a sudden bright flash in the Force, as if it were shouting, "Warning!" at him, that has him dropping to the floor and with some assistance from the Force, get out from between the senators and reach a wall. They're screaming and shouting all around as Senator Biz of Hiruns is only barely missed by the blaster shot when Obi-Wan avoids it. If he hadn't, Obi-Wan tracks the likely trajectory. It most likely would have gone through the back of his head. He looks towards the higher floors, but in the midst of the chaos, whoever attacked has likely disappeared already. Cody is at his side, barking orders at the other troopers coming closer and spreading out to both give him cover and search for the attacker. 5 days on the job, and there's already been an assassination attempt. Interesting.